Two astronauts, Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore, were supposed to be back on Earth after only 8 days in space. But things went differently than planned. Their spacecraft, the Starliner, had some problems, and they're stuck in space for much longer than expected. The spacecraft was launched on June 5th, 2024, and NASA thinks they might not return until February 2025. This is a big deal because it shows how hard it can be to travel to space and how many things can go wrong. Join us as we dive into the challenges they face and the future of space exploration. Let's dive straight into the video. Sunita and Butch took off in a spaceship called the Boeing Starliner. This was supposed to be a quick test flight to ensure the Starliner worked well for future trips. Everything seemed fine at first, but then things started to go wrong. The Starliner had some problems. First, there was a tiny leak of helium. The engineers thought it wasn't a big deal, so they let the mission continue. But then more leaks showed up, and some of the spaceship's small rockets called thrusters stopped working properly. These thrusters are super important because they help the spaceship move around in space and dock with the ISS. Because of these issues, NASA decided it wasn't safe for Sunita and Butch to come back to Earth in the Starliner. They want to study the spaceship more and fix all the problems before using it again. This means our two astronauts are stuck on the ISS for now. Sunita and Butch may be stuck on the International Space Station, but they're not just sitting around doing nothing. The ISS is like a big flying laboratory and there's always work to do. They keep busy by helping with experiments and caring for the space station. Being stuck on the ISS isn't so bad. It has everything the astronauts need to live comfortably. Each astronaut has a small private area to sleep in, and they use sleeping bags attached to the wall so they don't float around while sleeping. There's also a kitchen where they can heat their food and eat, and the food comes in special packages that don't make a mess in zero gravity. The ISS is a bathroom too, though it's not like the one in your house. It uses air to ensure everything goes where it should when there's no gravity. There is also a gym, which is also a very important thing. The astronauts exercise for about 2 hours daily to keep their muscles and bones strong. Most of the space stations are used for science. There are many labs where all kinds of experiments happen all the time. So even though Sunita and Butch can't leave, they have plenty to do and everything they need to live and work in space. Sunita and Butch have been keeping busy with all sorts of tasks. They've already done about 100 hours of work on 42 different experiments. They've also been helping to fix things around the station and keep everything running smoothly. Living on the International Space Station is exciting, but staying there for months instead of days can be challenging. Astronauts' bodies change in space because there's no gravity. Their bones get weaker and their muscles can shrink, so they must exercise daily to stay healthy. Another issue is radiation. Earth's atmosphere protects us from harmful radiation from the sun in space. However, astronauts on the ISS are exposed to more radiation. They get as much radiation in 1 week as we do in a whole year on Earth. NASA carefully monitors the amount of radiation the astronauts are exposed to. Being far from home for a long time can also affect astronauts' mental health. They might feel lonely or stressed, especially when things don't go as planned. While they can talk to their families via video chat and have each other for company, it's not the same as being home. Lastly, there is the challenge of limited supplies. Although the ISS regularly gets new food, water, and other necessities, having extra people on board for longer than expected means supplies might run out faster than usual. But before we move ahead, let's take a quick look at the space and moon-themed items from Gooey Gestures before we go on with the video. If you really like space, you can find some great stuff here to show off your interest in the cosmos. You can check them out in the description below. Take a look at these cool space accessories. Alright, now let's get back to the video. People are wondering if Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore will have enough food and air to stay on the International Space Station until February 2025. NASA says there's nothing to worry about. The ISS has plenty of everything the astronauts need, including food, water, clothes, and air to breathe. NASA and other space groups often send up new supplies to ensure the station never runs out. Recently, 2 spacecraft brought lots of supplies to the station. One brought about 8,200 pounds of stuff, and another brought 6,000 pounds. NASA plans to send more supplies with SpaceX ships before the end of 2024. The ISS is also really good at recycling. It can turn almost all used water, even sweat and pee, into clean drinking water. Cleaner than most water on Earth. The station can also make its air for breathing by using electricity to split water into oxygen and hydrogen. The astronauts can even grow some of their food in space. They have a special veggie garden to grow fresh vegetables and flowers. This gives them good food and makes them feel happier too. Even though Williams and Wilmore weren't supposed to stay this long, the ISS is ready for it. NASA's head, Bill Nelson, said they always put safety first. He knows space can be dangerous, so they're being extra careful. So even though Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore are staying longer than planned, they'll have everything they need until they come back to Earth in February 2025 on a SpaceX ship. The ISS has good ways to get supplies and keep people alive in space for a long time. NASA has been working hard to figure out how to get Sunita and Butch back to Earth safely, and they've devised a plan, but our astronauts must stay in space even longer. The current plan is to bring them home on a different spaceship, the SpaceX Crew Dragon. This spaceship is made by Elon Musk's company SpaceX. It's been taking astronauts to and from the ISS for a few years now. But here's the catch, the next available Crew Dragon flight that can bring them home isn't until February 2025. That means Sunita and Butch will end up staying in space for about 8 months in total, which is way longer than the 8 days they were originally planned for. Why can't they come home sooner? Well, space travel isn't like catching a bus. Every trip to and from the ISS has to be carefully planned. The Crew Dragon missions are scheduled way in advance, each with specific tasks and crew members assigned. NASA has to figure out how to fit Sunita and Butch into these plans without disrupting other important missions. Also, the Crew Dragon usually carries 4 astronauts. To bring Sunita and Butch home, NASA needs to make some changes. They're planning to send only 2 new astronauts up on the February mission, leaving room for Sunita and Butch to come back down. In the meantime, the Boeing Starliner, the spaceship that was supposed to bring them home, will return to Earth empty. Engineers will study it closely to determine what went wrong and how to fix it for future missions. While Sunita and Butch's extended stay wasn't planned, it's teaching us a lot about long-duration space missions. This information is crucial as we plan for future missions to the Moon and Mars, where astronauts will need to spend even longer periods in space. Their experience also shows us the importance of having backup plans in space. The fact that SpaceX can bring them home when the Boeing Starliner can't shows why it's good to have more than one way to transport astronauts to and from space. This situation has also sparked a lot of public interest in space exploration. Many people are following Sunita and Butch's story, learning about life in the ISS and the challenges of space travel along the way. As we wait for February 2025 and the return of Sunita and Butch, NASA and other space agencies will be watching closely and learning from this experience. Every day, the astronauts spend in the ISS provides valuable data about how humans adapt to long-term space living. When Sunita and Butch finally do return to Earth, they'll have quite a story to tell. Their 8-day mission turned into an 8-month adventure full of challenges, scientific discoveries, and unprecedented experiences. They've shown incredible adaptability and resilience, embodying the spirit of exploration that drives human spaceflight. While unplanned, their extended mission contributes greatly to our understanding of space travel and human endurance. It reminds us of the risks and rewards of space exploration and the incredible human ability to adapt and thrive in even the most extraordinary circumstances. The experiences of NASA astronauts like Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore are helping us push the frontiers of space exploration even further. We strive to explore the limits of existence through innovation, adaptability, and the endless quest for knowledge. That's all for today's update. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to stay informed about their journey. Stay tuned for more space news and astronaut updates coming soon.